Hey guys, Jim Downs at Motorhome Rehab Ranch. This is just something real quick. I need to get back out there on another set. I just talked to a guy, and this was very, very important. I wanted to stop and put this in. Now, the great thing about doing these videos is I can do a subsequent video and have pictures and all that stuff that everybody wants. But right now, I just want to talk about this. So here's the deal. Calls me up, and he has aluminum wheels. And he said, but I can't get them centered. Can't get them centered. I said, no, because when you put the lug nuts down, you got to get the wheel centered in the hub. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. Here's what, and this is the part that blows me away. A tire store put new tires, balanced them, and put them on this motorhome before he did a trip home from buying this thing. Okay? Now, there are three basic lug nut styles that are available. And again, I'm going to do another video. I'm going to go get three. I've got them, some of them back in the barn. But the lug nut that we all are used to is a flat lug nut. And it goes directly on the metal. The original lug nut was a flat lug nut. Flat lug nuts are for hub center rims. In other words, the hole in the middle, when you put the rim on it, there is a raised area on the hub that hole fits in exactly. Now, when I say exactly, it's not exact because there has to be tolerance to fit on there. But the idea of a hub center, right? Oh, excuse me. Hub center means that the rim fits into the hub. Okay? So he had a lug-centric rim put on that the hole in the middle was too big. But they put on hub center lug nuts. In other words, the lug nuts they had on there were the Alcoa lug nuts with the spinner. Okay? Now here's something else. The original specification was to put 250 PSI on that lug nut. Here I am pointing to the gator, sorry. But 255 pounds of pressure on the lug nut. Why? God, that's awful heavy. Usually it's 120 or 140. That's right. The reason they have it where it's another 100 pounds is just from the flat lug nut scraping on the metal. It takes 100 pounds of pressure just to get it to do that, to get the proper lug nut pressure. Okay? It's not 255 pounds. It needs 250 pounds because of the friction. Now, that was the original hub center. Then they found the better way to do a hub center was to use a lug nut with a spinner on it. Those are the Alcoa lug nuts. Because when you put those on, that is on a hub center rim. And it's written on the lug nut, 120 PSI. Why? Because it has a washer on it. The washer doesn't allow it to scrape, and it saves 100 PSI. So, if you have Alcoa rims with spinner lug nuts, your specification is on the lug nut, it's 120. If you have a lug nut that's flat, okay, and it goes flat on the rim, it's going to need 255 pounds. But he didn't even have that. What he had was the third. Remember, I told you there's a hub center. Okay, that's a flat lug nut. Okay, now let me go forward and then come back. Today, the standard today is lug center rims. In other words, your lug nut has a taper on it, and the hole has a bit of a receiver or a edge receiver for that taper. So as you tighten those lug nuts, it absolutely perfectly centers that rim. Now, that was originally that was for cars and light trucks, and the hub-centric was for heavy trucks and stuff. So it wasn't like ours was wrong. It's just that the specifications have changed. And today, just about everything in our realm that we need is all lug-centric, okay? But again, he didn't have a hub centric, even though he had hub centric lug nuts. He didn't have lug centric. He had the third type, which is a shoulder nut, where the lug nut's got the threads on it, and then there's a long shoulder that's threaded all the way through. That lug nut system, the lug nut does center it, but it centers it on the shaft all the way down. Okay? None of those rim styles are interchangeable, or should be. And this guy, a tire store, had done that. They put hub center lug nuts on a shoulder lug nut rim. Yeah. Actually, he said that the previous owner sent him a whole pile of stuff, and in them were the original correct shoulder lug nuts. But the tire store and the previous owner and everybody else was putting hub-centric lug nuts on a shoulder lug nut rim. Okay? Today, all rims that you're going to find to purchase are all lug-centric. In other words, when you look at the lug nut, it'll have a cone shape to it. My suggestion for you is don't buy chrome lug center lug nuts, because Chinese flash chrome lasts about 6 weeks. And if you want to know an exercise in futility, try to keep 48 flash chrome Chinese lug nuts polished. Doesn't work. If you look at a lug nut on a new truck today, it looks silver, it looks real polished. What it is a stainless steel cap on a steel lug nut, because the steel lug nut is going to be better for DOT. The specification is going to be better, but they don't want that rust and all that. So they put a cover cap on that lug nut. It's a special size lug nut with the stainless steel cap on it. It's the correct, was it 1/16 or something? So you want to get a lug-centric rim, and you want to get 8 lug-centric lug nuts. By the way, you know the rim companies don't make lug nuts. No. There's lug nut companies, there's rim companies, and you know there's wheel stem companies. The rim people don't make stems. So if you buy a kit and you buy a rim and it has a stem on it and it's got lug nuts to it, that was put together by a distributor. Okay? The lug nut you want is a stainless steel cap nut. That's what it's called, cap nut, because you don't have to keep polishing the thing. And it's buried in there far enough that the rust is not going to be an issue. It's not going to have problems with it. What happened with this guy? He's got the original shoulder lug nuts. Going to put them back in. They said they look a little grody, but at least it's going to be correct. He's going to have a full set of Alcoa spinner lug nuts available if anybody wants them. And now you guys know that if you buy new rims, it's going to have it's going to have a lug centric or conical type lug nut. And if you buy the old hub centric rims, you're going to have flat lug nuts with washers on them. Now, if you have original rims, it wouldn't hurt you at all to go buy a set of Alcoa lug nuts with the spinners. Take your lug nuts off of the 250 and put the Alcoa with the spinner on there at 120, because it'll hold it on there with 120 psi, less chance of stretching the lug nut. So the best deal for steel guys would be washer lug nuts, but flat, still flat. I wanted to do this because, man, that was unsafe. It was unsafe to have those lug nuts on there with those rims. And if anybody else is out there and you wonder, you've got some, they go to put the rims on and it doesn't work right, or you want to know what's going on, your first question is, do you have a hub center rim? Do you have a lug center rim? Or do you have a shoulder rim? Is the lug nut for your hub center flat? Is the lug nut for your lug center rim cone shaped or conical? And is the lug nut for the shaft got metal all the way through and it fits deep into the rim? Very, very important. I'll do some pictures and stuff on another video to go with this in the database. But I just really wanted to just stop and let you guys know about this. And we're gonna get back to work on another set. And thank you for your time here. And we'll talk to you later. Oh, I forgot. If this was helpful to you, remember, push click, like, and subscribe and all that. Ranch hands, this is really important information for the database. Thank you for helping me get it out. Now, see you later.